Hi. Today I'm going to show you how to draw a house step by step with structural framing. This is going to be a series which is in parts. So welcome to part 1.
drawtechnic.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
If this is your first time, this channel is about technical drawing and the science of architectural construction. So if you're a student, you should subscribe because I'm not only going to teach you how to draw houses, but I also have life lessons and tips on how to improve yourself for increasing your chances of getting into the job that you want. Okay, now I want to draw a house here, so I'm just going to pull up the Google search and go into images. I think we're in images already. Yeah. House. I just want to draw a random house. I'll take that one for now, just for the sake of this tutorial. Okay, I really like the look of this house, so I'm gonna try and make this, something like this. It won't be exact, but I'll try and make it as similar as possible with structural framing. I think I know the skeleton that's behind those walls. Okay, so go into your Revit, just to look at the house quickly. I would say that's approximately 3 meters wide, give or take. Maybe a bit less than 3 meters wide. And these are probably 3 meters wide each as well. I'd say 3.5. So 3.5 and 3 and 3.5. 10 meters. Okay. So I'm going to select the wall tool, but before I do anything else, I'm going to change the scale here to 1:50 because most drawings in offices are usually a 1:50 scale. Then come into elevations and select any elevation. Now, going back into that house drawing there, house picture, I would say that's approximately 3 meters tall. The door is probably 1.8. 1.8. This is going to be just less than 3 meters, I think. Let's call it 2.8 meters. Yeah. Okay. So level 1's going to be 2.8 meters. And we want to find another level. We want to find the other level is probably around about the same. 2.7, something like that. And we have these pitches here to make it more roomy on the inside, unless there's a structural framing behind there. So let's just say this is 3 meters. And we'll draw another level here. And make that one 2.7 meters taller than the first. Okay. And I'm just gonna rename these levels just to make life easy. Ground floor, level 1, and I guess we can call this roof. Okay. Now going back into the ground floor, I want to draw a wall just like this, if not very similar to this. So I'll select the wall tool and I want to edit this wall. It's just a basic wall, the basic default Revit wall. Now first you have to hit duplicate because you don't want to edit the original wall file thing. I'm gonna call this external wall just for the sake of this project tutorial. And then in the construction panel, the structure part, hit edit. Now I want to change the material here. When it loads up. Not responding, huh? Revit is one of those programs which tests your patience, especially when you're working on a big commercial building. It really does. Okay, so I want to change this. I'm going to type in brick to see if there's any more materials out there. This looks similar to what I'm looking for, but I want to change this pattern here because I want it to look like a brick wall. That looks like a brick wall to me. Okay, everything looks okay. This is the cut pattern for when you are looking in the plan view, and that's probably fine. Okay, hit OK. The wall dimensions look fine to me. Okay, now before we draw the wall, we have some parameters here to look after. I want the wall to go from ground floor to level 1 only. For the level 1 walls, I'm going to draw them separately on level 1. So top, the wall height is going to be to level 1. And I want the wall's exterior to be on the outside. So finish face exterior. And everything else looks okay. Chain just means when you click and draw the wall like this. Yeah, approximately 11,000. Let's just make it. And then it'll automatically set another wall out for you like this. So you can just click, drag, and click. Looking back on the house here, I can't really tell, but I'm gonna say it's approximately 7 meters. Approximately. So something like this. Let's just put it at 7 meters. Click, and right back to where we started. Okay, now let's have a look at this in 3D. You can click any component and hold down the control to click multiple components. And if you click this selection box tool here, it'll show you whatever you selected in 3D. And that looks alright to me. Now, looking back at the picture here, this part is recessed into the building. And I want to create that in here. So, going back in here, go back into the ground floor. Now, let's take the wall tool again and just draw that in. You can draw it randomly, it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to care. Now we have a problem here. If you look at this wall, the plaster on the wall is showing on the outside and the brick side is going inwards. Now we can change this by selecting the wall and clicking this little arrow here. Change wall's orientation. You can click that and make it move over, or you can click it and hit space on your keyboard. We'll do the same thing. Okay, now we're going to fix this wall. We're going to make it symmetrical, but first we're going to cut this one. So use the cut tool, bring it down here, cut anywhere. Now that's made a little incision in the wall. That means that's 2 separate walls now. So you take your trim extend to corner tool, click on one and click on the other, and it'll turn it into a corner. Same for this one. Now let me show you what happens when you select the wrong corner. So trim and extend. If I select this and I select this side, it's going to make a corner like that. That's not what I want. Control Z. I want this and this. And that's trim and extended the wall there for me into a corner. Okay. Now, looking back at the picture here, I'd say that's approximately 600 millimeters recessed. So it's 600 millimeters in, approximately. Alright, let's do it. Now, sometimes when you try to set your annotation here, you're going to get this center line and you can't click the edge of the wall, which is what you want. If you come up here and click wall faces, you'll have access to the wall faces. And that is 1.3 meters, 1.4 meters. So I'm going to click this wall because I want to change its position. I want to bring it down a bit. But I don't have to drag it down or anything. I can just click this dimension which I set here and make it 600. Okay, we've set that at 600 millimeters now, which is about what it looks on the picture. Okay. Now, I want to create the exact same walls on the upper floor. Without these pictures here, we'll worry about these later in another video maybe. Okay, so if you go back into your Revit and select, before we do that, let's just sort out these wall positions here. So exactly the same thing, hit the DI key to get the dimension tool and dimension this. Okay. Now we need a calculator because it's going to take me a few seconds or a minute to work this out, but 2,710 plus 2,830. Now 5,540 divided by 2 is 2,770. Okay, so 2,770, and the same for this one. Click the wall, then change the dimension. 2,770. Okay. Now you can delete all these dimensions, or you can select all the walls. We're gonna copy them to the upper floor. So deselect the dimensions, or you don't have to, it doesn't really matter. And hit copy to clipboard. And now this, you can get into this now and select align to selected levels and click into level 1 and hit OK. Now let's see how that looks in 3D. Okay, we're gonna have to open this section box up a bit, but there we go, we got 2 levels of walls here. Somehow this looks smaller than what we see in the picture. I'm going to manually edit the wall as I think it's supposed to be. So this involves just some playing around with. Go back into the ground floor and just play around with it. That looks a bit too big now. Alright, I'll just put it back where it was almost. Yeah, let's just trust how it looks now and see what it looks like later on. Okay. Now I just want to add I'm just going to put it back under level 1. Copy, paste, align to selected views. Align to select. Damn it. Copy. Maybe you do have to unselect these. Paste, align to selected views. Level 1. Okay. So yeah, that's back there. Now, a couple of things I want to do here before I add anything else. I want to add a foundation. I want to add a foundation to these walls. And I want to add internal walls. So I'm going to add the internal walls first so we know where to put the foundations. And I can't see inside the house of that picture. I can't see inside that picture, so we're just going to guess this part. Edit type, duplicate, internal wall. And okay. Now hit edit and let's delete the thermal layer. We'll keep the concrete, and because this side has a finish, a plaster finish, we want to have the same thing on the other side so that it looks like a consistent internal wall. Finish 2, and yeah, if you didn't see that there, if you go in material here, you'll notice a small little box here which you can click. You have to actually click to get the box to show up, and we want it to be a plaster finish or gypsum wallboard, doesn't really matter. Okay, and I'll make that 12 millimeters, and same for the other side. Okay, and hit OK. Now let's start drawing the internal walls, and draw them as randomly as you can. It doesn't really matter. I'm gonna guess that there's a kitchen back here. I guess that's what's usual in a home, where you enter a home and at the end of the house there's a kitchen. And I'm gonna say that there's a corridor here. And now we seem to have 4 rooms, or a corridor or a lounge or whatever you call it, that leads into the kitchen, a living room, and the other room. What do you call the other room? Inside. Okay, so let's just label these quickly. You can hit the A up here and label this. Now there's another way to label your rooms. You can click the room here, and this won't only label your room, but it'll tell you the square meter of the room. That's 21 squared meters. And you can just click this here to rename it. Living room. Okay. But I'm just gonna name them as however I want, it doesn't matter. We're here for the structural, not for the annotating. Oh, we could do annotating. I mean, it's a tutorial of the whole process, I guess. What should we call this room? Communal room? I don't know. Other room. Let's just call it other room. I feel this needs to be split up more somehow. So we'll add a wall here to be a storage room for the living room and the kitchen. So that means we'll add another wall in here. And this one can be the storage room for the kitchen, and this one for the living room. You're probably noticing that I'm just throwing these walls out randomly. It's because when you're in the creation process, you don't have to be exact. We can sort out the dimensions later. It's best to just throw it out there and then sort it out afterwards. Okay. Shall we add another room here? Let's say that this is one room. I don't know. I'll just leave it like that. So we need some stairs somewhere, but we can worry about that later. Alright, now I want to add foundations to all these walls. So go into 3D. And I'm just going to drag this down because I only want to see the first floor at the moment. And these are going up to level 1, which is good. That's what we need. Now, let's see here. Go into the structure tab to add the foundations, and where are we? Foundation. Alright. Now you can have an isolated foundation or a wall foundation, and obviously we have walls here, so I'm going to select wall foundations. Now this is what happens when you click the wall. It'll add the foundation by itself. Now is this how much foundation we want? In fact, I have an idea. Let's add a substructure. Where are we? Go back into the east elevation. And let's just add a substructure to this. We'll make it minus 150. Oh, minus 200. Okay, and call that substructure. Now this is the part that's going underneath the building. So the earth will probably come up to around here. Maybe. But if we add a door, then the door's going to be level with the wall. Alright, we'll work that out later. For now, go into the substructure, and let's copy all of this. All the walls. Select all. And bring it down one level. So copy, align to selected views and to the substructure. Now go into the substructure view. We're already there. And I just want to see this in 3D at the same time. Drag this down. Let me just see something here. Copy, align to selected levels, substructure. Alright, there we go, it's finally worked. Now let's see that the base constraint is at substructure and the top constraint needs to be at ground floor. That's because the top offset is minus 200. So do that again to the ground floor. Finally, we got it. Okay, now Have we got that brick wall again? Engineering. Now we have to draw it again. Okay. Change that to engineering. Blue engineering, the one I like. Okay, there's our substructure, and I want to do that. I want to do the same for every single wall. On the substructure, change them to and these can stay as they are. Okay, now we want to add our foundations to these walls. So hit structure and go into wall, standard foundation. Let's see what we can do here. So the width of the foundation is 600 and the foundation thickness is 275. You can change that if you want, but I'm just going to leave it as it is. I think it looks okay. And you can just click the walls and they'll appear. It could do with being a little bit thicker. Oh, that could be the section box bothering with it actually. We'll see in a minute. Select all the walls. Substructure walls, that is. Right, that's selected. Now we need to do the same for the internal walls. Okay, that's it. We have created foundations for the lower floor. And if my guess is correct, I think this section box is making the foundations look smaller than they are. Yep, I was right. Okay, now this is part one. Last thing I'm going to do here is just make it look a little bit nice by adding a door. So select door. Now I want to add an external door here, just like, or something like this here, something that looks like it's on the outside. So after selecting door, you'll have to load one from load family, because these are just basic internal doors and we want something fancy. We want something that looks a little bit better. Go into doors, external doors, and just browse around what you want to see. That's a nice door. And that's a nicer door. And that's an even nicer door. I think we'll go with that one. And I want it to be the biggest door it can possibly be, so I'm going to select this here. These are pre-selected dimensions for the doors. You can edit it, but this is what Revit has for you. Okay, I have added a door to the model. Alright, that's the end of part one. In part two, we're gonna add a bit of structural framing to the ground here, so we can add a floor on top of it without it sinking through these gaps, and add some windows, and what else? And add some internal doors and stuff like that, maybe some internal furniture. And that's it for part one. If you liked this video, if it helped you out, why not subscribe for part two? This is Draw Technic, technical drawing and the science of architectural construction.
You've been watching DrawTechnic.com. Remember to like and subscribe.